the Deputy Editor at the Caterer, and thank you for joining us for this Loving Life in Hospitality video as part of the This is Hospitality campaign run by the Caterer this year. Today I am joined by Matthew Jones. He's the founder of Bread Ahead. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Yeah, great, a pleasure. Thank you for coming down to the bakery here at Borough Market to meet. It's great.
There's a lot going on in the background, some classes downstairs and upstairs where we are today. There's a queue of people queuing around the corner for donuts, of course. Tell our audience a little bit about your story. So you launched in 2013, so 12 or so years ago.
Yep.
Tell us about the journey from then to today.
I started 2013. It was the first loaf of bread came out of an oven. I actually started with just a market stall in Borough Market, and I used to
home to you.
yeah. So I used to bake bread at my mate's bakery and bring it to the market. So I did that for the first kind of 6 months. I saved up enough to get a deposit and then get this location. I mean, to start with, it wasn't like this. Yeah. It was just a big empty space. It was essentially, like a yard. Mm-hmm. And then bit by bit over the years, I built it. So, old school, very much so. I made a bit of money, bought another window, made a bit of money, bought a mixer, made a bit of money, bought an oven. Right,
properly ground up and from your love of bread from the beginning, right? That was where it all started. It wasn't a donut back then, it was sourdough bread.
Yeah, it was sourdough bread. We did a chocolate brownie, a cheese and olive stick. I mean, that was about it. Amaretti biscuits, a few things. And then gradually over the years, we've introduced more products. We introduced the donuts.
Roughly how many SKUs do you have now?
I mean, 20.
20 or so, okay, got you.
Not that many, really. We try and keep quite a narrow bandwidth, really.
And how about sites? Where are you up to?
We have 5 in London. We're just going to open 6 now. We're looking at a new place in Harpenden. We've actually just signed Harpenden.
Congratulations.
Yeah, which is nice, sort of outside of London. I think there's a nice opportunity there.
Yeah, and out across the rest of the world as well, right?
Well, that's a big thing for us. So sort of 4 years ago now, we opened our first location in the Middle East, in Jeddah. We've then opened in Riyadh, in Dubai, so we have 12 sites over there. Yeah. We're opening Bangkok next week. Then we're opening in Manila, in the Philippines, and then New York this year. So we've got a huge year ahead.
How did those opportunities present themselves to you?
A bit of a mix. So all the operations in Asia are essentially franchise partners, and we're looking for those type of operators who know what they're doing. It's a certain type of organisation, and they're very good at representing brands like us, emerging brands really from London. And then New York, we're actually doing it ourselves, so that's self-funding. We've taken the plunge, so I'm going to do that.
I mean, taking carbs to New York, the home of the bagel and the donut, seems like quite a leap. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm confident.
Yeah?
I mean, we've got, when we look at our stats, I mean, a lot of our audience already is from the US. Mm-hmm. It's our biggest market outside of UK. Tell
us a little bit about the split between consumer and wholesale, because you sell into trade as well, don't you?
Yep, we do. So as a business, we are 10% wholesale. Mm-hmm. It's a nice thing to have in the background. Nice. And I find it just keeps us connected with the restaurants. We supply a lot of restaurants around here. We supply a lot of the good burger places in London. And it's just really a nice thing to do. I think I kind of enjoy the busyness of it.
Yeah, amazing. So recently, I think it was about 2 years ago, you launched an academy in terms of baking skills. So tell our audience a little bit about that and what you've been up to the last couple of years.
Yeah, so we've run courses now, the sort of recreational baking classes, as you can sort of see next door. We teach around 600 people a week, so that's busy, and that's always done very, very well for us. But then we really found there was a need for sort of a deeper platform for people who wanted to come into the industry, maybe as a career change. Yeah. But really, what we want to train people for is sourdough baking, viennoiserie, good donuts, and flavours. Mm-hmm. So we've developed a 6-month training program. So it's 3 months vocational, 3 months on the job. Yeah. We've developed that really well. We've got some good teachers, and so it's really structured into what they learn, and that's worked. We've got our 4th batch joining in June. Yeah. So we have 8 on a class, quite a small class, so we can give a lot of attention to detail.
And what do those students go off to and tend to do? Do they tend to go into hospitality or open their own
Real
places?
mix. I mean, a lot of them have actually come to work for us.
Oh, fantastic. So it's a bit of a talent pool for you as well. Wow.
Yeah, because that's what you want to find in a bakery business, any food business. What we're looking for is people who want to be there.
Yeah. You don't do 4 a.m. starts unless you really want to.
Yeah, you've got to want it. You've got to. You've got to want that in your life. It's a certain type of person.
And you've developed this now into the Future Bakers Project, is that correct? So,
yeah.
Hang on, I've got it down here. With ambitions to teach 1 million young people to bake for free over the next decade. Now
Yes.
that is quite the ambition.
Yeah, so I mean, why not? As we're sort of emerging globally, I think it's really important to me that we keep ourselves very grounded as a business. So we are still family owned, we don't have investors, and that's how we're going to keep it, like that, at the moment. And we're very proud of that, but I think it's really important for me. I came from what I would consider a very normal background. I left school, I was a chef, and I did a youth training scheme. I used to sleep on couches and all that stuff, great, and I loved that. So I want to remain very grounded as a person, and by bringing people into the business and giving genuine educational opportunities to them, it just brings me a lot of personal satisfaction.
Amazing. So how are you getting the word out there to potential pupils and such?
So first thing, we'll invite school groups, because we always have a bit of quiet time in the bakery school, Mondays and Tuesdays, so we can just open our doors, invite people in. We can support that. I think the world has changed when you look at marketing and how to promote a business in one's entry into a new city. I would much rather invest in the people who live in that city with something genuine. Just invite them in. That's what we do. We don't do commercials. You know what I mean? We're not that kind of business. We don't do advertising. What we do is just give a bit and share what we're doing. There's clearly a big audience of people who want what we offer.
So would the idea be that maybe a young lad at 14 comes into your bakery through school and gets a taste of making bread, goes home, makes a bit more bread, and then comes back to you via the academy and does a professional course and then goes and works for, I don't know, the Ritz or something? Is that like a dream?
Wonderful. I mean, there's music, isn't it? I mean, if that can happen, if I can give that opportunity, or if I can just be that little catalyst in somebody's life, multiple people's life over the next 10 years, then I've done my job on this planet. I've given something back. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. It was rough and it was awful. I mean, it was wonderful, but it was a pretty rough environment and quite unforgiving.
Yeah.
It wasn't today. There was no HR department. It was, my way or get out. The first interview I went for, doesn't matter where, because it's a hotel in central London. I went there for an interview. I was 15. And the chef sent me home. He said, "You're too small.
You're too small.
You are too small. You cannot work as a chef." I was like, so I phoned my mum from the phone box. And the chef said, "I'm too small, Mum." You'll be fine. So I went and did a youth training scheme. I mean, imagine that today. I mean, wow.
But now we've got different problems as well, I suppose, in terms of just like economically and also perception of hospitality. Not many parents out there are necessarily encouraging their kids to go and do hospitality now. So if you can kind of turn that around by getting, that kid coming back from that school trip being like, Mum, I've just made some amazing bread or donuts. That's something special, right?
I want to inspire people. And I had exactly that conversation earlier with a gentleman who's on one of our courses, and he's a chef, and he said often, we sort of considered almost like second-class citizens because you've got, doctors and lawyers and like professional services, and then you've got the catering industry. No.
Need to shift that.
Big time. Because, and that's my job to do that and to help to do that. Look, I'm entrepreneurial. I always was, and I have that gift and that sort of tenacity to run a business, and that's turned out to be a global business, and
it's hugely impressive.
Was that the plan? Not really, but I mean that's the journey we are now on, and I'm really enjoying that.
We wish you all the best with the academy. Talking of opportunities, I'd love to drill down a little bit more on you and your love of hospitality industry, which clearly you do. What opportunity has this industry given you that you couldn't have got anywhere else?
I think, the opportunity in this, to travel internationally and to enjoy those places that I used to work in. I mean, the places like when I worked in Gidley Park Hotel as a chef, and I was 19, and I saw, sort of people coming in and enjoying this environment, and it seemed so out of my reach. It's like, it was something the grown-ups did. But now I can travel, and I do stay in wonderful places, and I eat those amazing Michelin experiences, and I'm so fortunate and so grateful to be able to experience that as a customer, and I really appreciate it. I really enjoy that.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given along your way in your career?
I think it was the more general work ethic, of advice was really kind of, it was kind of drummed into us. To me, at a very young age, I kind of got the gist, as it were, when I was 15, 16, that there's just no compromise. I mean, I can remember some of the chefs I used to work with. I mean, Martin Webb, John Turode, they used to say, it's either shit or it's shit hot. There's nothing in between. That was that attitude. It was either, there's just no compromise.
Yeah.
And that was, Quaglino's in 1997, I was there. Wow. What a world to work in. It was insane.
I'm sure you have some stories from those times.
Wow. And it was just a very uncompromising world. And they weren't frightened to send stuff back. They weren't frightened to call you out. You had to just be ready. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, going back to that chef quote, someone like John Turode, I want to be looking at it, not looking for it. Mm-hmm. It was that whole approach.
Yeah.
If the chef calls for something, you deliver.
Yeah.
Right now.
And do you think that shaped you into
yes.
the person you are today?
And that's a double-edged sword, because for me, having unfinished work is unbearable.
Yeah. So
you
never switch off?
No, of course not. I work 7 days a week. I love working 7 days a week. I just want to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. That's passion.
Yeah. And that's not everybody's cup of tea, is it?
No, it's not. But what is then the one part of the industry that people tend to get, a misconception that people tend to get wrong? If you're outside the industry thinking about hospitality, what's the thing that you think people get wrong?
I think they don't understand the relentless nature of it.
Yeah.
It is a beast, and you have to be, mentally, physically strong enough to be able to take that on, because this is a kind of a problem that's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And we're there to fix it as operatives within a restaurant or a hotel or a bakery environment. The reason we're here is to kind of fix all the little things that go wrong all the time.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep going wrong. There's otherwise we wouldn't have a job. And it's kind of, you've got to just roll with the punches with that. And it's, it's not a job that you're going to be, it's 5 o'clock, I go home now. It's, you go home when the job is finished.
Yeah.
And again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and it is my cup of tea.
And that's where it comes into finding the right talent pool and the right people that can do this job and do it well. And what is the one best mistake you've made in your career?
Best mistake, yeah. Well, I've done some shockers, I had a previous business, and I suppose getting complacent, really. I had a previous bakery before this business for 10 years. I took an investor on. He was a great guy, he was, but a hard guy. And that fell apart, business, because I got complacent. Yeah. And I think, and I walked away from that business. I built a business for 10 years and walked away from it with nothing. Wow. And that was brutal. I was fortunate, I was young enough, I was mentally strong enough to deal with that. And that lesson I won't forget, so that was very valuable. But, at the time, when you're in that, if you're going through that, no, not great.
But walking away from that has been...
It gave me what I have now, and it made me who I am. And I'll never forget it, and never, and I'll never relax again. A little bit, yeah.
Hopefully.
Like tonight when I go home, I can watch a bit of YouTube with my son, and that's fine, Yeah.
But no, clearly a huge passion for this sector, and you're doing some incredible things with young people and people that want to get into it. So hats off to you. Matthew, it's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for taking part in this video.
It's great. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down.